Kyle was a quiet, reserved guy. He didn't mind the solitude. His routine was predictable. On this cold November night, he stayed later than usual at the library, finishing a paper for a class he didn't care about. The rain poured outside, and when he packed up, the streets were eerily empty. His apartment was only a 15-minute walk away, so he pulled his hoodie up and stepped out into the chilly night. The wet pavement echoed under his footsteps. As Kyle walked, he noticed a tall figure ahead of him. The man's old-fashioned suit, pale face, and wide-open, unblinking eyes immediately felt wrong. As Kyle passed, the man suddenly turned his head sharply and locked eyes with him. His gaze was intense. Kyle quickly looked away, but noticed the man was now walking behind him, matching his pace. The man's presence felt like a shadow, always there, just behind. Kyle's heart began to race. He tried walking faster, but the man did too. Panic set in. Kyle turned down side streets, hoping to lose him. But no matter what he did, the man stayed right behind him. Then Kyle glanced back. The man's lips stretched into a grotesque grin, wider than humanly possible. His eyes stayed wide, unblinking, as though feeding off Kyle's fear. Kyle's chest tightened. He had to escape. He sprinted down an alley, his feet slipping on the wet ground, but the man followed relentlessly. Finally, Kyle reached a quieter street, the flicker of streetlights casting strange shadows. As he slowed, he thought he had lost the man, but then he heard it's a soft shuffle followed by rhythmic tapping, like a dance. Kyle whipped around. The man wasn't walking anymore. He was dancing. His movements were jerky, broken, like a marionette with tangled strings. The man's smile widened with each step, growing more monstrous. Kyle froze. He couldn't move, but his legs finally kicked into gear, forcing him to run faster. His breath came in ragged gasps as the man's footsteps followed, too close, too steady. Kyle pushed through the streets until he reached his apartment building, fumbling with his keys in a frantic panic. He slammed the door behind him, locked it, and peered through the peephole. Nothing. The hall was quiet, but Kyle couldn't shake the feeling of being watched. The image of the man, that twisted grin, haunted him. Over the next few days, he found himself glancing over his shoulder whenever he left the apartment, certain the man was always lurking nearby. Weeks later, Kyle sat in his apartment late one night, studying. His phone buzzed. It was a text from an unknown number. His heart sank as he opened it. "I see you." Attached was a photo of him, sitting at his desk, just as he was right then. But the worst part? The photo had been taken through the window. Kyle rushed to the window, but there was nothing, just the empty street. Then came the knock. 3 slow taps. Tap, tap, tap. Kyle froze. Tyler was a sophomore living in a cheap off-campus apartment near NYU, the kind of place where the pipes clanged in the winter and the lights flickered when someone turned on a microwave. He didn't care. It was cheap, it was close, and it was his. The only thing that ever really bugged him was the bathroom mirror. From the first week he moved in, he noticed something was off. Sometimes, his reflection seemed just a half-second behind, like he'd blink, and it would blink right after. Not enough to be obvious, but just enough to make his stomach tighten. He told himself it was in his head. Bad lighting, old glass. He got used to it. Until one night. It was around 2 a.m., and he'd just come back from a late shift at the coffee shop. He brushed his teeth in the dark, with just the hallway lights spilling in. That's when he saw it. His reflection wasn't brushing its teeth. It was just watching. Tyler froze. He stared at the mirror. Toothbrush still in his mouth. Foam dripping onto his shirt. His reflection just stared back. Completely still. No blinking, no movement. Just watching. Then it smiled. Tyler backed out of the bathroom and slammed the door shut. He didn't sleep that night. The next morning, he ripped the mirror off the wall. Behind it, instead of drywall, was a hole-in opening to a narrow, dark crawl space. His breath caught in his throat. Inside, he found an old blanket, crumpled candy wrappers, and a disposable cup half full of some brown liquid. But the worst part, the part that made him stumble back and nearly throw up, was the piece of cardboard leaning against the far wall. On it, written in sharp black marker, were 5 words. "Thanks for letting me watch." Tyler moved out the same day. He never looked in mirrors the same way again. It was past midnight when Jordan left his friend's place on the east side of Detroit. He wasn't familiar with the area and didn't want to wait 40 minutes for a rideshare, so he checked the bus schedule out of habit. Weirdly, one was coming in 5 minutes, a route he didn't recognize. 93. He'd never seen that number before, but it said it'd take him near downtown. Figuring it was a rerouted late-night line, he went to the stop. The bus arrived on time, old and worn down, its headlights dim, like tired eyes. When the doors opened, no one spoke. The driver, an older man with ash-gray skin and cloudy eyes, just gave him a slow nod. Jordan stepped on. There were only 3 passengers, all sitting perfectly still in different row zone near the front, one in the middle, one in the back. None of them looked up, none moved. Their faces were blank, hands resting on their knees, like mannequins left behind on a movie set. Jordan took a seat near the front, trying not to look directly at them. The air was too quiet, no engine hum, no city noise outside, like everything had been muted. After a few stops, no one got on or off. At the 5th stop, a girl boarded, maybe 16, hoodie pulled low, eyes wide. She walked past Jordan slowly, then stopped beside him and whispered, "Get off at the next stop. This isn't a real bus." Then she kept walking and sat in the back. Jordan stared at her, confused, until she looked back and shook her head, very slightly, with a terrified expression. That was enough. When the next stop came, he stood up and walked to the door. The driver didn't look at him. The doors opened with a hiss, and he stepped into the cold. He turned around immediately, heart racing, but the street was empty. No headlights, no bus driving away. Just a silent intersection and the sound of wind brushing leaves across the pavement. He checked his phone. No mention of Route 93 on the transit app. He searched later, even called the Detroit Department of Transportation. They told him Route 93 had been shut down over 10 years ago after an accident killed everyone on board. No survivors. No explanation. The route was removed from the system, the buses retired, and yet, somehow, Jordan had ridden it. He still doesn't know where it would have taken him if he'd stayed on.